And now for our most bullish price prediction ever shared on the Crypto News Alerts live podcast, and that's $7 billion per coin, according to Peter Dunworth. So let's break this down, and then I'm going to compare it to Fidelity's $1 billion Bitcoin price prediction as well from their head of macro, Jurrien Timmer. So here we go. And again, shout out to everyone out there in the live chat. I appreciate all the support. First, I want to I transcribed what he shared in this interview. This was shared roughly a week and a half ago on the What Bitcoin Did podcast with Peter McCormack. He interviewed Peter Dunworth, and he went on to share the first valuation framework is simple, that there is $6.3 trillion of global trade that happens on a daily basis. And if you divide $6.3 trillion by the 900 Bitcoin that are minted on the day, you get a $7 billion coin. So there you have it. That's the math. One of the formulas he used to justify that $7 billion price prediction. Let me know if you agree or disagree, fam. Now, in the exclusive interview, and I'm going to encourage you all to check it out, the What Bitcoin Did podcast, we had Dunworth, who runs a multi-family office catering to high net worth families. He shed light on the significance of Bitcoin in Australia and expressed his concerns regarding the bank's unwillingness to embrace the crypto despite its immense potential as the most undervalued collateral in the world. Dunworth's analysis of Bitcoin valuation is based on a simple framework, which I just shared with you. He points out that there's a staggering 6.3 trillion worth of global trade occurring on a daily basis. And then if you divide that 6.3 trillion by the 900 Bitcoin minted on the day, you get a $7 billion coin. Let's go. According to the current inflation rate of Bitcoin, it's technically possible to mine up to 900 Bitcoins per day. This rate is influenced by a process called the halving, which occurs every 4 years and cuts the inflation rate in half. However, it's important to note that this figure represents the total amount of Bitcoin entering circulation within 24 hours and is not accessible to individual miners. Now, here's a reality check by the author here. If each Bitcoin's value reaches 7 billion, we can calculate the potential market cap by multiplying this value by the total supply of Bitcoin. And with a maximum supply of 21 million BTC, that would give us a market cap of $147 trillion. Now, I also got to point out, as Michael Saylor has infamously shared, the total addressable market of all the money in the world, the total addressable market is north of $700 trillion. So theoretically, is it a probability that the Bitcoin market cap capture 150 trillion of the 700 trillion total addressable market? Yeah, anything's possible. So these numbers are off the charts. Now let's compare it to one of the largest asset managers in the world, which currently control over 4.5 trillion in assets under management, as their head of macro shared a $1 billion price prediction for the King Crypto as well. And we'll compare that to this other guy saying we're going to hit 7 billion, and we'll break that down. So here we go. This was something initially shared a couple of years back in 2021 in September. One Bitcoin may be worth $1 billion by 2038, according to the second largest asset manager in the world, which is Fidelity. So here we go. One Bitcoin may be equivalent to $1 billion by 2038, according to Jurrien Timmer, director of global macro of Fidelity. Timmer backed up his assertion with the 4-hour chart that combined the stock-to-flow model with his demand model. And here's what he said in his own words. Metcalfe's law holds that as the number of its users grow linearly, a network's value grows geometrically. The implication is that the utility value of Bitcoin will outgrow its operational network. This operational network encompasses buyers, sellers, exchanges, and ATMs, and in addition, also includes participating retailers, both directly and indirectly, and some leading organizations such as the Dallas Mavericks and AT&T. Rounding out this network are a few insurers, several banks, and a multitude of small businesses. Now, Timmer's own demand model grows very slowly in proportion to the stock-to-flow combination supply model. The asset manager's director's demand model predicts that Bitcoin will reach $1 million per coin by 2030. And on the other hand, the stock-to-flow combo model forecasts a price between $1 million and $10 million per coin by 2030. Now, Plan B, creator of the Bitcoin stock-to-flow model, he recently updated this, and he is now projecting between a $100,000 and $1 million Bitcoin price post-halving in 2024. Now, Jurrien Timmer's demand model seems to historically represent the floor or the bottom of the price. The stock-to-flow appears to be a better fit for the peak. However, do note the gap between both models widens significantly after the year 2030. That's when things get very interesting. One of the suggested reasons for the wide widening gap after 2030 is the change in the value of the dollar. So it should be noted that this is the reasoning and it is not set in stone. So virtually, Timmer stated that the value of the dollar changes in relation to other assets. He further pointed out that just a dollar invested into stocks in the 18th century would be worth about $4 billion in today's money. Now, going by this assumption, $1 million today can be worth $1 billion in 20 years' time. Now, changes in the dollar's value, especially depreciation over several decades, render the same amount with less purchasing power. This is why huge sums back then appear less by today's standards. For instance, $1 million could purchase a lot of significant things a few decades ago. But to put this into perspective, reasonably higher-end houses in the U.S. cost between $200,000 and $500,000. So the same $1 million may not suffice for the same class of houses today. So there is an increasing number of billionaires across the globe. Some observers even believe that we may see the first trillionaire in this lifetime. How many of you believe the first trillionaire will be a Bitcoin holder? Let me know, fam. The same applies to organizations, with several companies now passing the 1 trillion market cap valuation. Now, Fidelity previously pegged Bitcoin to hit 100 million by 2035 using the same stock to flow model. Now, Jury and Timmer also made those predictions back then. And untested and uncertain Timmer's predictions are, he is not the only one with such lofty forecasts. We also have Deutsche Bank also forecasting that the Bitcoin price will dominate by 2030. So there you have it, fam. You just heard 2 predictions of a Bitcoin price target of $1 billion north. I shared with you the veteran crypto investor, Peter Dunworth, predicting $7 billion per coin. And I also shared with you Fidelity, the second largest asset manager in the world, also predicting $1 billion price action for the King crypto by the year 2038. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments right down below.